For 3 years, her rent was mysteriously covered, every month, right on time. No name, no message, just payment after payment. At first, she thought it was a mistake, then maybe a miracle. But when she finally discovered who had been doing it and why, the truth didn't feel like kindness. It felt like a wound reopened, a reminder of how deep injustice can hide behind generosity. What kind of person pays for your home only to destroy the meaning of safety itself? Samantha James had always been careful with her money. A young black woman living in a quiet southern town, she worked 2 jobs, teaching during the day, waiting tables at night, just to keep a modest apartment that felt truly hers. Every corner carried her touch: the thrifted bookshelf, the lavender-scented candles, the photo of her mother by the window. Life wasn't easy, but it was steady, predictable, and hers to own. Then, one month, the rent receipt arrived with an unexpected 0 balance. She checked the numbers twice. It had to be an error. But it happened again, and again. Each time, her landlord shrugged, said someone else had handled it. No details given. At first, gratitude mixed with disbelief, perhaps a quiet blessing she didn't dare question. But as years passed, whispers in town began to follow her. Strange looks lingered longer than before, and beneath the relief, a quiet dread began to grow. What if this kindness came with a cost she hadn't yet paid? Months turned into years, and Samantha's mysterious rent payments continued, always on time, always anonymous. The money freed her from constant worry, but unease began to coil tighter inside her. She noticed subtle changes. Neighbors who used to smile now turned away mid-greeting. Coworkers whispering when they thought she couldn't hear. Someone had written, "Must be nice," across her car window in dust one morning. She wiped it off, forcing a laugh, but her hands trembled long after. At school, she overheard the principal telling another teacher, some people just get lucky when they play the system." Their eyes flicked toward her door. The kindness that once felt miraculous was mutating into suspicion, envy, and something uglier. Soon, even her landlord's tone changed. He started calling her Miss James in a clipped, distant way, like every conversation had a hidden charge. Then, one afternoon, an envelope arrived. No return address, only her name written in an unfamiliar hand. Inside, a single note. "You should know who's taking care of you." Folded behind it, a newspaper clipping. A photo of a smiling man in a suit standing at a ribbon-cutting ceremony for a new housing project. The caption read, "Local developer and philanthropist honored for community outreach." She didn't know him personally, but she recognized the name. His family owned half the town. The same family linked to the business that had refused to employ her uncle 20 years ago because customers preferred familiar faces. The air in her apartment felt thinner after that. Gratitude turned to...
Samantha stood outside City Hall, the afternoon sun glaring off the polished glass doors. Her heart hammered, not with fear, but with fury that had nowhere else to go. In her hand, she clutched the file she'd pieced together. Bank statements, letters, old news clippings. Proof. She was done being someone's hidden project. When she finally stepped inside, the air conditioning hit like ice. A receptionist looked up, polite smile fading as recognition dawned. Within minutes, she found herself ushered into a soft-lit office lined with framed awards and hushed power. There he was, the man from the picture. Older now, but unmistakable. He rose, extended a hand she didn't take. He spoke smoothly, words rehearsed and condescending. "You should know, Miss James, I've always believed in lifting others up. Your story, it's inspirational, really. Proof that people like me can make a difference." Each syllable dripped with ownership. She set the folder down between them, her voice steady. "You didn't help me. You just found a new way to remind me who holds the keys." For a flash, something cold passed across his face. Irritation, maybe even fear. He began to speak again, but she kept going, louder this time, her anger rising like storm surge. She described her family's history, his company's past evictions, the quiet discrimination, the way her grandmother's home had been taken decades earlier. And now, this. Generosity used as a disguise for guilt. When she finished, the room was silent, except for the hum of the air vents. He smiled again, thinner this time, and said softly, "People could see this very differently, Samantha. You might want to be careful with your story." That was the breaking point, not just for her, but for the illusion that silence kept her safe. She walked out, hands shaking, eyes.
The story spread faster than she expected. A local woman exposes hidden racism behind charity headline. Some praised her courage. Others called her ungrateful, angry, divisive. The same old words wrapped in new packaging. But Samantha didn't retreat. She spoke at schools, community centers, online panels, telling anyone who would listen that silence is comfort for the powerful, but suffocation for everyone else. Behind every good deed, she said, there can live an old injustice left to rot until someone opens the door and forces the light in. She learned that real empowerment isn't about who signs the checks, it's about who owns the truth. And after years of being quietly helped, she finally helped herself by saying the one thing expected least from people like her: no more. The developer went silent after a short statement praising unity and generosity. The town's polite smiles froze a little tighter, but conversations began. Messy, uncomfortable, necessary ones. Some neighbors apologized privately. Others avoided her altogether. But Samantha had already learned, change doesn't wait for universal approval.